Hey class, welcome back to our science subject and welcome back to our energy transfer and transformation book. We covered chapter 1 in our first lesson in this book last time, so if you haven't watched that, you need to go back and watch that and complete the chapter vocabulary and the big question, because those things will help you understand and be ready to learn from chapter 2, which is titled Moving Objects Have Energy. Last time we talked about how energy causes change and the different forms of energy, how heat is energy, light is energy, sound is energy. We talked about how a rubber band can be pulled, and as we pull it apart, it is storing energy, and as we let go, that energy is released. We also talk about how, for example, holding let's do this, holding up something above our head or away from the ground, and if we drop it, the energy is released and it falls down, and then the cap hitting my table and making that sound was energy also being released. So now let's talk about moving objects and how they have energy. So again, remember that you need to do the big question discussion post for each chapter, and also please do not copy and paste your answer. Please use your own words to be able to get the full credit and for you to continue to grow as a learner and as a student and as a person to learn how to critical think and to become, a person that can express your thoughts and feelings. That's going to help you now, and it's going to help you throughout life. And then also remember to do the chapter vocabulary words. Those you can copy and paste as long as you are getting them from the book. Do not copy and paste from Google or from another book. Please use the definitions that are in the book. So let's start reading and follow along with me. Everywhere you look, you see things move. Riders pedal bikes, people walk and run, birds fly, fish swim along the bottom of the ocean, rain falls from the sky, objects move in deep space too. Planets orbit stars, meteoroids move through space. Another word for the movement of objects is, and what does that say, Scotland? Motion. And that is also, and the text is in blue, meaning that is our first vocabulary word. So let's go to the right and read that together. What does that say, Dante? The process of an object changing position. So that's a definition of motion. The process of an object changing position. So, like we were just talking about, we've moved the object up, and now we've let go and released the stored energy, and that object went into motion, changing its position. And now it shows a picture of a basketball. Some of you guys play basketball, and probably some of you guys can beat me in basketball. The ball's position changes as it falls through the hoop. Okay. So think about describing motion. So moving objects are described by how their position is changing. Scientists describe how fast an object is moving and changing position. Scientists also describe the direction in which an object is moving, left, right, up, down, and so on. Our next section. Moving objects can cause changes. Some objects, such as a basketball player, as the basketball players in the picture, cause their own motion by moving their muscles. They jump and run from one end of the court to the other. The movement of muscles causes change. So, raise your hand. Are any of you guys play any sports? Any of you guys athletes? I played football and lacrosse in high school, and then lacrosse in college. I played soccer when I was younger. What sports do you guys play? Well, while you're playing those sports, your body, your muscles are causing energy and then helping you move, which is causing change. All right, other objects such as the basketball are put in motion. Other objects such as the basketball are put into motion by outside motion. The basketball is put into motion by outside motion. What is that outside motion? What do you think, Chloe? What's the outside motion that is causing the ball to be put into motion? Yeah, your hand, right? Your hand and your body going with the ball, bouncing the ball, either throwing the ball, right? The outside motion is you, the player. So moving basketball players cause the ball to change position. The player's hand dribbles the ball up and down. So if we look at the picture, his hand, his left hand right here, looks like he's kind of scooping the ball, which I don't think is allowed, but his hand is moving the ball and he's going to push it down to the ground and the ball will change positions. So players pass and catch the ball across the court. In all these examples, moving objects cause changes. And there's the caption, the players and the ball in a basketball game are in constant motion, and the motion causes things to change. All right, let's get on to our next section. What is this section called, Vanessa? Moving objects have energy. Good job. When a moving basketball hits a net, swish, the net moves. The net changes from sitting still to moving, right? That's the ball going through the net. When a skier slides down a slope of fresh snow, whoosh, the snow changes from powdery to hard impact beneath the skis. And sometimes with that powder, you can kick it up, kind of like a wave in the sea, right? In the ocean, it gets thrown up into the air. When falling raindrops hit the surface of smooth puddle, splash. The surface of the puddle changes from glassy to a ripple with motion. Flying basketballs, speeding skiers, falling raindrops, and all other moving objects have energy. How can you tell? You can tell because moving objects can cause change. And energy is the ability to cause change. So that's reiterating what we learned in the last chapter. You got a refresher, repeating and refreshing over things we continue to learn that will continue to help us memorize things, learn things, and build upon it. So repetition is a good thing. So let's get into our next vocabulary phrase, right? Can you read this with me, Mason? All moving objects have energy of motion. Now, what's the definition, Mason? Did I say that right? What's the definition, Mason? Yep. So read the definition with me. The energy an object possesses while it is moving. So energy of motion is the energy an object possesses while moving. So if I were to throw this cap at you, as it's moving, this is the energy of motion. As it's moving towards the camera. I don't want to do it because I don't want to break it. So let's read this caption and get a little bit more into this. So the motion energy of a falling raindrop changes the surface of a puddle. Right? So the falling raindrop comes in, energy of falling changes the surface of the puddle, right? It splashes. And this is just showing the splat. This is just showing the splash. Soon the water will start to ripple. Okay. All right. Let's call on Caden. Caden, what does this next section say? What's the title of it in blue? People use the energy of motion. Good job. So hammers and nails. Because moving objects can cause a change, a moving object can be useful. People have figured out many ways to use energy of objects in motion. We cut our food by slicing it with knives. We cut our grass with spinning lawnmower blades. Now, who has the responsibility of cutting the lawn? Now, I know there's not a whole lot of lawns around here, but we have a lawn at my house, and sometimes I have to cut it, right? And I use the lawnmower. So whose chore or task is that at their house? These objects in motion can cause the change that result in getting something done. All right. So let's get to this hammers and nails. So imagine trying to push a nail into a block of wood with your hands. Oh, that would be tough, right? You'd have to be like the Hulk to be able to do that. That would be nearly impossible to do. Now imagine placing a hammer gently against the head of the nail and pushing the nail into the wood. You still will not be able to move the nail into the wood. But we swing the hammer against the head of the nail and bang. The hammer is heavy and the swing is fast. The moving hammer now has the energy of motion. Now that energy can cause the position of the nail and even forcing it into the wood. Now, how many of you guys have had to not maybe had to or got to build something, right? How many of you guys have been able to use a hammer and a nail before and build something? Maybe you're fixing something. Maybe you're building a fort. When I was growing up, I was building like skateboard ramps and half pipes. And so I built a lot using hammers and nails. So this hammer, when we're swinging it, it's the energy that's in motion. And with all that, it's creating a lot of energy to be able to change and force the nail into the wood. So energy from the moving hammer drives the nail into the wood. But what moves the hammer? The motion of the builder's arm, or your arm, provides the energy to change the position of the hammer. Okay. All right, Melody, what's this say right here? This might be a little tough word. Some of you guys might got it. Some of maybe you've never seen this. This is pendulum. Pendulum clocks. So engineers, such as clockmakers, have applied the energy of motion for centuries. Clockmakers, as early as the 1650s, used their knowledge about the energy of a swinging pendulum to help tell time. And some of you guys have probably seen this. Maybe you guys have seen kind of like the metronome, something similar when you're learning to play an instrument. All right, so look at the clock, the diagram of the clock shown here. Okay, the pendulum of the clock swings back and forth. So it might be a little tough to see. Let's make sure I am not in, I'm not in the way. So it's kind of faded, but it shows this arrow, how this pendulum is swinging from right to left. So as the pendulum swings, it causes change to the position of the gears, right? The gears, as a result, rotate the hands of the clock. Those hands point to the numbers around. Right here, here's the minute, the hour hand, and the minute hand. Those hands point to the numbers around the clock's face, allowing us to tell time. All right, so now next time you see a clock and you see it moving, you can see that there's probably a pendulum that's helping tell the seconds, which is moving these anchors and these gears to slowly change the minute, or maybe even the second hand, and then the minute hand, and then over time, the hour hand. Let's go on to our next section. All right, Sahar, what does this say? Wind turbines. Good job. Wind is moving air. Like everything that is in motion, wind has energy. Long ago, people discovered they could use the motion energy from wind to cause changes and get things done. People use wind to push the sails of ships to move across the sea. Wind has also long been used to push the sails or blades of windmills. Early windmills capture the wind's motion energy to turn the blades. Then the moving parts inside the windmills could, as a result, grind grains or pump water. Yeah, now let's learn about these modern wind turbines. So today's wind turbines work in the same way. Wind turbines use the energy from moving air to spin giant blades. Have you guys seen these before? There's a lot across the Great Plains here in the US. And these things, when they rotate, move eternal parts that produce electricity, another form of energy. So here we go. Both traditional windmills and modern wind turbines use energy from moving air in helpful ways. So this one probably grinded grain or helped make food. And this one is helping create electricity. And that, everybody, is chapter 2, or lesson 2. Thanks for staying with me. Thanks for staying focused. You guys are awesome. Those that are on top of things, maybe watching this ahead, way to go. And those that are watching this maybe on time or behind, way to stay on track or get on track. You guys are all awesome. It's okay to be working at your own pace as long as you're getting things done. And let's get on top of things past this third quarter and be on a great path to pass 4th grade. So let's get back to the big question to give you some points. Remember to do your chapter vocabulary. And the big question says, what does it say, Zayden? How are energy, change, and movement of objects related? All right, so how are energy, change, and movement of objects related? So the energy causes what, which can cause what? There you go. They kind of are, they built upon each other, right? They all are intertwined. Okay. So moving object can cause change. So you can reread that if you need some help. moving objects have energy, so you can reread that section to be able to help you answer the big question. I will see you guys in the next science lesson, or maybe I'll see you in the literature or history lesson. You guys are awesome. See you next time.